Part 16. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 151. Yang Cixi feels warm in her heart. Whether a person loves you or not can be reflected everywhere. Qin's father and Qin's mother were afraid that the young couple would have a hard life, so they would take the initiative to provide them with living expenses from time to time. As for Li Junlu, he would only ask her not to cause trouble in her husband's family. Sometimes she really envied Qin Yanxi. Although she suffered some grievances, her parents never lacked him materially. This alone has surpassed many parents. She said, "If there are enough flowers, if there are not enough, we will open our mouths." "That'll do." Yang Cixi left. When passing through the hall, a man came over. "Hello, are you a new colleague? What is your name? What position are you in?" "I'm not new here. My dad just brought me here to get living expenses." Yang Cixi excused herself. "Dad?" The other person's face turned green with fright. "Hurry back to your seat." Yang Cixi smiled and walked away. "When I got home, I looked at the empty living room. I felt so lonely at home alone." She looked at the time. It was already 11:30. Go out to greet Qin's banquet. Unable to meet him, she went to the black market to look for opportunities to make money. Yang Cixi walked for a while but didn't pick up anyone, so she changed direction and went to the black market. The black market in the east of the city has opened again. Hawkers changed one after another. The bookstall owner is always there. She has to ask around. Her literacy has increased a lot recently, so she is planning to buy books as a preparation. "Just turn 2 pages. A familiar voice echoed in my ears. She turned around to look around. I found a short man blocking the hornet in the corner. She will help those whom Huniu bullies. She put down her book and strode towards Huniu's direction. She stepped forward and cleared her throat twice. Huniu turned his head. Subconsciously, he clamped his legs and drew back. You, what do you want to do?" He was having such a bad time. How could he meet this Rakshasa again? Yang Cixi said leisurely, "I was just going to ask you." I didn't do anything." Huniu turned around and ran away. Yang Cixi didn't chase her, and walked away with a scoff. Seeing that Huniu was acting like a grandson at this time, the short man raised his eyes to look at Yang Cixi. His eyes lit up instantly and he couldn't look away from her back as he looked at her back. Yang Cixi here chose 2 storybooks and asked about the price. 2 cents, said the stall owner. Yang Cixi deliberately let out the cigarette when taking out money. The stall owner smiled and said, "Hey, the little girl is still smoking." These words made the people around her look at Yang Cixi sideways. Yang Cixi said calmly, "It's used to entertain relatives at home. It's up to men to entertain." Yang Cixi twitched her lips and said, "I am the one who entertains our family. What should we do?" The stall owner was speechless. Yang Cixi handed over the cigarette. "Would you like one?" "Thank you." The stall owner lit the fire himself. Yang Cixi went around in circles and finally asked the question she wanted to ask. In order not to appear mean, she said jokingly, "I have been here several times, and I see you every time. Those selling snacks are everywhere. It's different every time. What skills do you have to make those patrols turn a blind eye to you?" The stall owner smoked a cigarette and treated Yang Cixi warmly. Tunyuntuwa smiled and said, "Have you read Journey to the West?" Yang Cixi shook her head. The stall owner collected books and threw them at her. "Buy them and bring them home for me to read. Once you understand them, you will know why I can persist here." Yang Cixi picked it up, and the words "Journey to the West" were written on the worn alpaca-colored cover. "How much?" "It's also a dime." Yang Cixi paid the money and walked out with the book under her arm. Not long after leaving the gate, the man who was cornered by Huniu appeared and blocked her way. Yang Cixi frowned. The other party rubbed his hands with a restrained and flattering smile. Girl, thank you just now. May I know your name? Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 152. Ying Sisi was quite kind, it's not very convenient. The man's smile disappeared immediately and he asked, then why did you come to my rescue? Don't you have a good impression of me? You take the initiative to show your good feelings and then reject me, you are just a fool. You must have been kicked in the head by a donkey. Ying Sisi cursed and strode away. After a few steps, I heard a burst of wind behind me. She could squat down. A brick fell to the ground and broke into two pieces directly in front of him. The initiator was the man who scolded her. And the opponent still had a piece in his hand, and he was ready to throw it at her. Ying Sisi jumped up in anger and threw the book in her hand. Straight at the opponent's door. In the time the man closed his eyes, Ying Sisi had already rushed in front of him, slapped him twice on the left and right, grabbed the brick from his hand and slapped him on the head before he could throw it. Hit the opponent until he holds his head and run for his life. Ying Sisi couldn't help but chase him and give him another kick. Auntie, I was kind enough to save you. You're just not grateful. You want to harm me. You're a bedbug in the gutter. You deserve to be dealt with. Don't let me see you again next time your turn. She picked up the book and left quickly. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Poor luck. No return on a good deed. From now on, she will look like a dog if she shows up like this. Ying Sisi calmed down after taking the tram home. Go all the way through the gate and go upstairs. At the corner of the stairs on the second floor, she met Qin Yancy who was going downstairs. She raised the corner of her mouth and walked towards him 2 steps at a time. ACI, did you come to see me specially? Ying Sisi hesitated and said, how was the exam? The results will come out at 10 o'clock tomorrow. We will take a look when the results are released. The top 5 will be admitted to Yanqing University, Qin Yancy said with a relaxed expression. Ying Sisi sensed that he had a winning chance and felt that he was safe this time. I was really happy for him. I raised my head and kissed the side of his face. You are so awesome. Ahem, you too, please pay attention to the impact. Ying Sisi turned her head and saw that she was a neighbor again. Seeing her and Qin Yancy hugging each other didn't count, they even saw their intimacy. She yelped in embarrassment and ran upstairs. Qin Yancy calmly greeted his neighbor, hello, aunt. Hello, haha, you young people still know how to express it, either by hugging or kissing. Qin Yancy's eyes were dark and he was inexplicably agitated. He never hugged her outside at all, it was the other one. He was so jealous that he chased him upstairs with a few perfunctory words. Ying Sisi rushed back to the room and threw herself on the bed to hammer the quilt. Why is it that every time she does this kind of thing, she is caught by the other party? It's evil. Wrong. You shouldn't go out today. She sat up suddenly, and there was someone blocking her sight. Just looked up. The young man lowered his head and kissed fiercely and urgently. Ying Sisi immediately lost the ability to think and followed his strength to lie down. After a long time, he raised his head and took off his glasses, and whispered, "Sisi, look at me." Ying Sisi opened her eyes. Qin Yancy continued, "Do you think there is anything different about me? Tell me something." As long as she said something, he would continue. So I tried to squeeze out that person. To completely occupy the body. Ying Sisi wanted him to continue, but he wanted her to answer the question. This is like having meat in your mouth. You have to finish memorizing the book before you can eat it? Can you tell me when it's all over? No, say it now. Swoops down. Doesn't it mean that he must wear glasses if he is not short-sighted? Or is he always inconsistent? Qin Yancy didn't say a word when he saw her. My mind calmed down and my back was covered in sweat. Let's wait a little longer. There is no need to rush. He got up and walked to the bathroom, preparing to take a cold shower to cool down the fire. Yang Cixi cried angrily when she heard the sound of water. He took the initiative to tease her, but then left her alone. She picked up her coat and walked out. This time, she had to show him some dignity. She wants him to know that she also has a temper. Please vote. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 153. Yang Cixi walked out of the gate and looked in both directions, only to find that she had nowhere to go. If she returns to the courtyard and her parents-in-law see her alone, won't they ask about Qin Yan's speech? How should she explain? You need proof of identity to stay in a guest house, so I forgot to bring it when I came out. Go back and get it, and you have to face him again. See him angry. It's better to go back to your parents' home. No matter how bad it is still a place to stay. According to Cixi's decision, walk to the tram stop. The car didn't arrive, but the Qin banquet was waiting for him to say goodbye. Sci. Yang Cixi raised her legs to run and stopped only when she was almost sweating. Turning around, Qin Yancy was chasing her, so she stepped up her steps decisively. Qin Yancy was so tired that she thought to herself that she looked so weak and could fall down when the wind blew. How could she run so well? Sci, if you have something to say, please tell me. Yang Cixi did not respond. Qin Yancy had no choice but to continue chasing, but he didn't believe that she, a little girl, could run better than him, a grown man. After a while, Yang Cixi stopped because he couldn't run anymore. Qin Yancy finally caught up with her, stabilized his breathing, reached out and pinched her shoulders lightly, forcing her to face him. He stared at her and said, "Cixi, what happened just now was my fault, don't be angry." After taking a shower, I found that the person was missing, and I was shocked to realize my mistake. It's my fault that he only considers his own situation and ignores her feelings. Yang Cixi was panting and brewing emotions to fight him to the end. Len Buting heard his apology and was stunned for a moment. After thinking for a while, she walked down the steps he gave. "Okay, I won't do it next time." Yeah, there was a touch of helplessness in Qin Yancy's voice. I wanted to explain but didn't know where to start, so I changed the subject. "Are you going home?" Yang Cixi said with dignity, "If you don't want to go back, I plan to go back to my parents' home. You wait here, I'll go ride a bike." Good. After Qin Yan resigned, Yang Cixi wandered around in boredom. Seeing a notice on a telephone pole saying that a house is for sale urgently and the price is negotiable, my mind was moved. She had planned to buy a small house to live in early on. This time she was angry with Qin Yancy, which made her even more determined in this idea. She memorized the address, took off the notice, tore it into pieces and threw it into the garbage room on the roadside. Shortly after, "Qin Yan's resignation is here." Yang Cixi jumped into his backseat. Qin Yancy glanced out of the corner of his eye and saw that her movements were very nimble and her running endurance was good. "Have you practiced? Has Sci ever practiced martial arts?" Yang Cixi was confused. What is skill? Qin Yancy's smile must have disappeared. "It's just martial arts." "No, have you practiced martial arts?" Qin Yancy, "Before I went to the countryside, my father asked someone to teach me, but it was just for physical exercise. I am in good physical condition and do not need additional exercise." Today is Saturday. Li Junle got off work early. When he saw Yang Cixi and Qin Yancy, He was all smiles and said kindly, "Sissy, the banquet is here." Song Hanmi was cleaning up her room when she heard the sound and went out. Thinking about whether Sissy should be empty-handed or carrying very few things, she laughed at her. As a result, Qin Yancy carried a lot of things in big and small bags. There are non-staple foods and cloth. There are also 2 boxes of canned nutritional supplements and a hanging pork. She was stunned for a long time and said, "Where did so many things come from?" Yang Sisi said angrily, "I bought it. Could it be that it fell from the sky?" She had no intention of buying a gift at all, but Qin Yancy said it was a rare trip back, so she was bumped into by neighbors, and Song Hanmi deliberately spread the news, which affected her reputation. "Since I don't come often, I might as well do it to save face." In this way, even if Song Hanmi intended to smear her, she would not be able to say it. He happened to have the ticket in his hand, so he kept it. "So I exchanged money and bought these things." Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 154. Song Hanmi said angrily, "Look at you girl, you talk like a firecracker, can't you be polite to me?" Yang Sisi, how do you want me to be polite? Kneel down and talk to you. Song Hanmi said, "Who asked you for this?" Yang Sisi rolled her eyes. Li Junlu started talking to Zinni again, "Sisi, your aunt didn't mean that. Yewei has been talking about you these past 2 days. Can you come in and talk to her?" Li Yewei wanted to interrupt since she welcomed Sisi into the room. Now she finally had the chance. "Sister, I just have something to ask you. You can tell me if you have something to say. It's a private conversation between us women," Li Yewei said. Yang Sisi smiled sarcastically, "What do you and I have to say to each other?" She entered the room and said slowly, "Go ahead." Li Yewei is preparing to reveal the secret of Qin Yancy. Qin Yancy pushed the door open, pinched his nose and said disgustedly, "Why does this room smell like sheep? Our sister is so fragrant, how could she enter such a sloppy place like yours?" He entered the room and talked about himself. Being shady is definitely not a good thing to say. "You," Li Yewei was furious. "This bastard, he can die if he opens his mouth and doesn't attack people, right? Smell. Doesn't this mean that she was scratching in the house? Give back our sister-in-law." She immediately grasped the difference in the 2 names corresponding to SISI, brother-in-law. How can there be any smell? But you, who used to be called sister and daughter-in-law, why are you called SISI now? Could it be that there is another girl in my heart? Yang Sisi also wanted to know and looked up at him. Qin Yancy narrowed his eyes slightly. He deliberately aroused Sisi's curiosity and asked him for an explanation. "You know something about it, right? If you feel disgusted, go lick the toilet and don't stir up trouble here. The girl you're looking for? How about a title?" Yang Sisi suddenly felt that she had made a fuss, and she echoed, "That's right. Yewei, you are going too far. I told you not to target your brother-in-law, but every time we come back, you have to plot against him. Where is he, offended you?" Song Hanmi was very worried about the fact that Li Yewei had tried Qin Yancy, so she took it out and said, "It's not because of Yancy that I have failed Yewei." Li Yewei suddenly felt bad and was about to interrupt, but Song Hanmi had already told the story. "Yewei said that you two had a relationship and slept in the same bed, but you turned around and married Yang Sisi." Yang Sisi was stunned. He and Li Yewei had slept in the same bed? When did it happen? Li Junlu was the same way, looking at several people without blinking. Qin Yan smiled angrily, "Produce evidence." "Evidence? You don't know what you have done yourself," Song Hanmi sneered. "Qin Yancy, I haven't done it. If you can't provide any evidence, you are just spreading rumors to affect my reputation. I'm waiting for my father to find someone to sue you." Song Hanmi was horrified, but her face remained calm, because she believed that her daughter would not talk nonsense about this kind of thing. I have the evidence, find a doctor to check your body, as long as it can prove that your food is like millet. Chin Yanxi's face was so gloomy that water dripped from his face. Whose millet is spicy? That's enough. You, a woman, say these things about your son-in-law, how shameless are you? Li Junlu was angry. Yue was led astray by you. Song Hanmi was furious. Who brought her up? I think it was you who brought her up. Marry one in the country and one in the city. The upper beam is not straight and the lower beam is crooked. You're not a good person either. Don't think I don't know that you are flirting with that old Lu from your work unit. Li Junlu angrily exposed Song Hanmi's shortcomings. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 155. Yang Sisi feels embarrassed by the internal conflicts in her family and should not come back. She took Chin Yanxi and left quietly. When there was no one on the road, Chin Yanxi explained, "Si, you can't believe those nonsense." Yang Sisi said with certainty, "Of course I believe you." Song Hanmi might be able to fool Li Junlu by not speaking. Once the words come out of your mouth, they sound false and stupid. As Li Junlu said, which serious woman would discuss her son-in-law's privacy in front of a whole family? It's like seeing it with your own eyes. Millet is also spicy. Thanks for being able to figure it out. Shamelessness is written all over his face. There is also Li Yue, who talks nonsense and makes trouble out of nothing. She didn't care about it once or twice, but she won't just let it go this time. Chin Yanxi breathed a sigh of relief, as long as she didn't misunderstand. The two returned to the family courtyard and sat next to each other in front of the TV to watch TV. Yang Sisi leaned on his shoulder when she was sleepy. When she woke up, she was already in bed. The room was dark. She turned on the light. His eyes were blinded by the light. After adjusting, his eyes fell on the clock on the wall. It's already 9 o'clock. She got up and found that Chin Yanxi was not at home. Where did you go? Going to the window and looking downstairs, the bicycle was gone. Haven't you gone to fight Li Yue and Song Hanmi? According to his past temper, he would have taken action at that time. It's been pretty good so far. His attacks are not serious, so don't beat them up. She hurriedly put on her coat and prepared to go out to look for it. I didn't find Chin Yanxi, but I saw Feng Shuangzi on the street. How do you say that? There is no place to break the iron shoes, and it will not work. She was looking for him. She followed calmly. They saw Feng Shuangzi sneaking up to the wall of Li's courtyard with someone on his back. Use the tiles at the base of the wall to step up and climb up by grabbing the top of the wall with one hand. She stepped forward and crossed her arms, saying in a teasing tone, "Where is the wife who climbed over the wall to have a tryst? Are your wrists well taken care of?" It was difficult for Feng Shuangzi to exert force with one hand, but Yang Sisi's voice suddenly echoed in his ears. He was so frightened that he let go of his hand, and his skin bulged on the ground, and he screamed in pain. The other half of the sound was swallowed by him. Yang Sisi was amused by his funny actions. Feng Shuangzi complained, "Sister, can you scare people to death?" Yang Sisi, "Isn't he dead?" Feng Shuangzi, "This female devil doesn't have a nice word to say." He was afraid of being beaten, so he humbly argued, "I miss Yue so much. You won't mind my behavior, right?" "No, there's something I want to tell you." "Come here." Yang Sisi found a place to speak. Feng Shuangzi followed honestly. "You say." Yang Sisi muttered, "Actually, I didn't want to say it originally, but today I went back to my parents' home. Auntie suddenly said that Yue had a man. I came here specifically to inform you that Yue is my sister. Even if you find out that she has another man in the future, you cannot dislike her." You must love her, protect her, and treat her consistently. What, Feng Shuangzi's sky has fallen, isn't he green? He knew that Li Yue was a casual woman. How else would it be possible to drag him into the woods and kiss him wildly even if you don't even have a crush on him? The devil also asked him not to dislike it. This is worse than eating a fly. It's a shame for that woman to say that he is her first man. She even pretended to hold up a white handkerchief and pointed to the red patch on it, saying it was a symbol of her purity. Is this pure? He was furious. Sister, don't take this bully with you. Yang Sisi admitted arrogantly, yes, what should you do? Feng Shuangzi wilted. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 156. Here's what I said. If you don't agree, be careful. Yang Sisi left. Feng Shuang was so happy that he shed tears. Is there any justice? He swore in a low voice, I will definitely seek explanation from the police station. Yang Sisi turned around immediately and said, you are a frequent visitor to the police station. Do people believe what you say? She added, don't say bad things about me, I have a good ear. She left again. Feng Shuangzi. He also turned around and left angrily. That Li Yue, dare to play tricks on him. When she gets married and gives birth to his child, he will beat her to death. Weight-based poplar flowers. Yang Sisi finished her worries and walked home at a leisurely pace. From a distance, you can see a person standing under the street light at the entrance. Looking at the figure, it's Qin Yanci. She shouted loudly, ACI. The shadow moved and walked in her direction. Getting closer, the young man's cold face became clearer, and she smiled and said, wait for me. Qin Yanci, who else can I wait for besides you? Where are you going so late? I was just strolling around. Where did you go? I went back to the courtyard, Qin Yan said. Song Hanmi I fabricated the facts out of thin air and did not tell her father, which would only fuel her arrogance. Waiting for her father to massage her energy. He came home this time and knew one more thing. Sisi may not be Li Junlu's daughter, but Shen Yushan's. She has lived in the countryside since she was a child and finally grew up to be a big girl. He was picked up by Li Junlu and immediately arranged to get married. Stepmother and stepsister are afraid that she will have a good life. Always disgusted with her. She has probably given up hope on family ties for a long time. At this time, another man from a prominent family came out to recognize her. Then what is the sin she has suffered over the years? Can she bear it? He really wanted to guard her. It's a pity that he will leave again in 2 days. Why don't you call me to come with you? Yang Sisi was a little dissatisfied. He went back, but she didn't. The mother-in-law must not think that she encouraged him to live away from home. I saw you were sleeping soundly, so I didn't call you. The two of them went home together. Before going to bed, Qin Yanci stayed in the guest room on the pretext of reviewing. Yang Sisi couldn't sleep and looked for him, so she moved a stool to sit next to him. I bought a book today and will accompany you. She opened Journey to the West and studied it carefully. Qin Yanci's eyes moved from her slender white hands to her smooth and clear face, and his throat began to feel tight again. How can I survive the long night? In order to divert attention, he said, Sisi, is there anything happy about life in the country? More, I am very happy almost every day. Even though I am poor, I have nowhere to get money. In contrast, I like the city, where the money is easy to make. By the way, you asked about the copper coins. How's it going? Now Qin Yanci has no idea what's going on, so he can only choose the answer from the question, there is no sign yet. There's no rush, just take your time and ask. The two were talking when there was a knock on the door outside. Yang Sisi was close to the door. She got up and went out to open the door. She is a neighbor's aunt, and she is accompanied by a pregnant woman with a big belly and round waist. Good evening, aunt, are you okay? Yang Sisi greeted politely. Good evening, the aunt responded with some embarrassment. This is a sister from my natal family in the countryside. Today I went to the city with my brother-in-law to check up on her health. Our family really has no place to live. I thought your family would be free and let her stay here for the night. Yes, Yang Sisi agreed generously, but my aunt is pregnant. Our bathroom is paved with bricks, so no one can go to the bathroom at night. You can stay with us as well. The neighbor's aunt thought for a moment and said, okay, I'm sorry to bother you, aren't you here for the banquet? He is reviewing, Yang Sisi said, I'll clean up first. You guys wait a moment. Please vote. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 157. Yang Sisi returned to the guest room to explain the situation. ACI, outside. Do you live here? Qin Yancy reached out and pinched her face gently. You are too talkative. He stood up and went out to entertain the guests. Yang Sisi touched the skin he had pulled and shrugged her nose angrily. I am the mistress of this house. Can't I decide who lives here? Snored. She changed the sheets on the bed and went out with a smiling face. Auntie, it's ready. Hey, excuse me. You two look quite young, why don't you have children? The pregnant woman said with a smile. The neighbor's aunt's surname is Sun, the young couple have just gotten married. It's time to prepare. I've been married for 8 years and this is my 6th pregnancy. The 5 girls in front of me will have to give birth to a son this time if they don't have a son. Your family's conditions are so good, so give birth to a son as soon as possible. And Sun pushed her arm against the other person. What are you giving blind orders to? What do you call a blind command? I'm just passing on my own experience. When I was young, I didn't hurry up and give birth to a son. When I got old, I didn't have a son to support me. When I died, there was no one to carry the coffin and throw the basin. Sister, I'm not talking about you, you just 2 girls, don't you have to point at the son in my belly from now on? Yang Sisi can't understand that there are so many daughters who can't lift the coffin or throw the basin, right? You still have to have a son. Is your son a mountain spirit and a monster with great strength? You've been suffering from old age because of your belly, so it's time to take a holiday. Are you tired from giving birth all the time? It's worth it even though it's tiring. Yang Sisi couldn't sympathize with her. I heard from my sister-in-law that pregnancy saves money on monthly letters. As a self-married person, I guess you have never sewn a monthly letter belt. Qin Yancy suppressed a smile and felt embarrassed to be there, so he walked away. And Sun didn't dare to look down at Yang Sisi. She just let it go at home and it would be embarrassing to go out. The pregnant woman thought that Sisi should be considerate of her and praise her. She was smug and even a little superior. Yes, you city people also sew monthly ribbons. We all use light and soft plant ash. Do you use briquette ash? What about your city people? People's lives here are not as comfortable as those in the countryside. And Sun covers her face. Can't we use toilet paper? It's comfortable. You don't have to do farm work. You can do it yourself. Just go back to your room and turn off the lights here. Yang Sisi said good night to Aunt Sun and returned to the house. Qin Yancy was already lying down. Yang Sisi closed the door gently, walked to the bed, took off her shoes and got into the bed, and pressed her face against his neck. Qin Yancy's bones went numb, and his voice became hoarse as he said, "Si, let's each sleep separately, okay?" Yang Sisi was annoyed. She had said that everyone should sleep separately, but he didn't hug her again later. Capricious. I really want to give him a big mouth. Know it? She turned off the lights and went to sleep in her own place. The pregnant woman brought by Aunt Sun made a loud noise, but Aunt Sun kept reminding her, but she still went her own way. Ying Sisi was so noisy that she couldn't sleep. Qin Yanci also tossed and turned. Sisi, why don't you come over? Ying Sisi remained motionless. I also want to sleep separately today. There is something I want to discuss with you, that is, I want to buy a house. She hesitated for a long time before deciding to speak. They are husband and wife and should be honest with each other. Hiding and guarding against him is against the enemy. If you don't tell him and just run there later, how will he find it? You still have to let him coax you back. Qin Yan raised her eyebrows slightly. Buying a house? Can't you afford a decent house for just a few thousand? His money is used to buy a house, so he doesn't have to live anymore? She is not an impractical person, so why does she suddenly make such a request? In order to avoid exposing his fault and arousing her suspicion of him, he cautiously asked, has the price of the house been negotiated? Do I have enough money? Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 158. Not yet. Ying Sisi suddenly hesitated. Well, after I buy the house, it will only belong to me. It has nothing to do with you, so I don't need to pay for it. But if you want to live there occasionally, you can live there. He pays a share of the money, and if there is a quarrel or a fight, drive him away. Shouldn't he say that he also has a share in that house and refuse to leave? She murmured cautiously, I just don't know if my 1,500 is enough to buy it. If it's not enough, can I lend you some? Qin Yanci's thoughts are tactful. 1,005? When he learned that she was the target, in order to understand her, he came back and asked his father about her family's situation. Father said that he only gave her family a bride price of 800 yuan. I also investigated the salary of my parents-in-law, and they found it to be average. And my mother-in-law loves to dress up. The family's income and expenses are basically the same. Even if you have money saved, it probably won't be much. The original intention of marrying her was to exchange for the bride price. Can she get back the bride price? Where did she get the money? A flash occurred in his mind. Could it be that the fish from the woods in the suburbs were sold? Only those fish can sell for this price. Sold together with that grumpy guy? So copper coins also have to be sold? Her little mind is quite flexible, and she is very courageous and dares to do things against the wind. For such a good girl, her father-in-law was willing to hastily decide on her life. Thinking of this, he touched her face gently. How much do you want? Tell me at the beginning of next month. Remember, it must be at the beginning of next month. Why? Ying Sisi suddenly realized, oh, you have to choose the date when buying a house, right? Okay, I will remind you at the beginning of the month after I have negotiated the price. Qin Yanci raised her lips slightly. Why? Naturally, she didn't want her to rely on that person for everything. It's just a few days later before she can think about it seriously. Before the transaction, remember to go to the housing management office to inquire about the house buying and selling regulations, and ask your father for help if necessary. Okay. Ying Sisi yawned lightly, closed her eyes and went to sleep. The next morning, Ying Sisi sent Aunt Sun and her sisters away and accompanied Qin Yan to number 1 middle school to see her results. The school gate was crowded with people. While waiting for the results to be released, several groups of young people asked Ying Sisi for her contact information and wanted to make pen pals with her. Qin Yan's speech was full of jealousy. It does not describe a person's staggering state. Hence, he said he was a short mule. He was so angry that he almost started a fight with him. It's been revealed, it's been revealed. A group of people cheered and rushed to the list. Yang Sisi saw at a glance that Qin Yanxi's name was ranked third, and it was written in brackets at the end that he had been admitted to Yenching University in advance. She almost jumped up in excitement. "ACI, you are so awesome. I am so lucky to marry someone as educated as you. It's a pity that I am uneducated and hold you back." She was filled with regret. "It would be great if I could study when I was a child. I don't want to be like him and get into Yenching University to gain glory for my family. High school graduation is also fine." Qin Yanxi's eyes burst into laughter. It was clear that he was blessed. That person's emotions are easily disturbed by the outside world. But he occupied the body for a long time. If it were another woman who married him, he would not be able to calm down and study. Now not only does he not have to worry about things at home, but he can also harvest the happiness she brings every day. Naturally, he can focus on his studies without any distractions. It can be said that without her, no matter how talented and tacitly coordinated the two of them are, they will all be in vain. His eyes were soft and he said, "Being uneducated is not a hindrance. You are very good as you are now. You have a flexible mind and can read, but you can't succeed in what you want to do. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 159. Yang Sisi was pleased. "Well, I like to hear this. How do you say that? Golden scales are just things in the pond. They turn into dragons when encountering wind and clouds." Grandma Warren also said that her mother is smart and her father is brave. As long as she doesn't fall in love with a man and only focuses on making money, she is destined to be extraordinary. Although Li Junlu is a bit stretched. Although she is kind of in love with a man. But she won't become ordinary just because she falls in love with a man, right? She doesn't want to be ordinary. Hey, never mind it. She is doing very well now. A happy day is just a day. Enjoy the moment. After reading the results, Yang Sisi decided to announce the good news. "ACI, let's go to the courtyard first. Today is Sunday, my parents don't go to work, so I just want to share it with them, and I can also stay there at night." "Listen to you," Qin Yanxi said. Yang Sisi was very excited and was planning where to go with him in the next few days. Qin Yanxi did not respond. After tomorrow, it won't be him who is with her. What was he talking about? "ACI, why don't you say anything? Do you not want to play?" "Well, I need to review." "Yang Sisi, if you are admitted early, you can't relax for a few days." "No, learning never ends, I will borrow university books from the teacher." Yang Sisi put her arms around his waist and put her face on his back. Qin Yanxi's body tensed up, and the front of the car almost tilted. She just heard her say again, "You are so motivated, you are worthy of being the man I like." Qin Yanxi was jealous again. "Did you fall in love with it at the first meeting?" Yang Sisi was of course not. At first, she just used him as a springboard, thinking that marrying him would make her life a little smoother. Who would fall in love with someone they meet for the first time? You don't believe me even if I tell you. I don't know when. Qin Yanxi was very satisfied with this answer. "I don't know when, it means that I might be interested in him. He has a good temper after all." Originally, the girl's family welcomed her. He laughed. "Go out and play tomorrow." Yang Sisi, not a review. "Suddenly I want to take a vacation for myself." Yang Sisi, one idea in the east and one idea in the west. So annoying. The two of them went to the courtyard. Before Sisi could say anything, Qin's mother smiled from ear to ear and said, "You two are here to announce the good news." Yang Sisi was surprised. "How did you know?" "Mr. Zhang, who tutored Yancy early in the morning, called and said that he was admitted in advance to the mathematics department of Yenching University. Chin's mother did not take her eyes off Chin Yancy when she spoke. "Yancy, you have been working hard these days." Chin Yancy was very polite. "You should thank SISI. Without her care, I wouldn't have been able to pass any exams." Mother of Chin felt a little unhappy. "Everything was due to SISI, and I gave birth to you. Didn't I get any credit?" But he had rarely been nice to her in the past 2 days. She didn't want to spoil it, so she followed him and said, "Yes. Sissy has really paid a lot during this time. I'll take her to buy some clothes tomorrow. That's pretty much it." Mother of Chin. Chin Yanjun joked, "When you have a daughter-in-law, you forget about your mother." "It's not true at all." Chin Yancy smiled and said, "It's you who teach me well." Chin Yanjun. This kid. When your notification letter comes out, I plan to hold a grand entrance banquet for you. Do you want to hold it at home or in a restaurant? Chin Yancy thought for a while and said, "Let's go home, invite all the neighbors to come and make it more lively." Neighbors nearby have been rumored that he has mental problems because of the man's violent behavior, and now he has been admitted to Yenching University. During this period of time, SISI accompanied him again, and his father said that he almost never argued with others. It's time for the rumors to be disproven. Flash marriage of the era. Married to a crazy husband who amazes everyone. Author, Yuan. Chapter 160. "Okay, we have to take care of the family tree and the ancestral hall as well," Chin Yanjun said, minding his own arrangements. Yang Sisi was happy and envious at the same time. It turns out that to bring honor to the family, one can go to the genealogy or the ancestral hall. She has to work hard too. Strive to become the richest person in the world and open up your own genealogy and ancestral hall. I just don't know if it can be realized. This time the banquet speech can be regarded as honoring the ancestors. Congratulations. Lu Yuechun came out of confinement, dressed up, with a face of joy, but in his eyes there was only deep helplessness and loss. In order for Chin Yancy to stay on the farm, she secretly didn't know how much effort she had put in and how much she had spent on her words. 10 years. Thinking that others will be useless when they come back. Who would have thought that in just over a month, he would pass the Lao Shiza competition and get a ticket to Yenching University and turn around completely? Can all of the father-in-law's connections be used for Chin and Jin in the future? They must have strongly supported Chin Yancy. From now on, what Chin Yancy faces is a bright road. And her plan was in vain. Mad. Congratulations on your speech at the banquet, you finally made it through. Chin Jin also congratulated him, which seemed more sincere than Lu Yuechun. Chin Yancy glanced at the two of them lightly and remained silent. He didn't believe that his elder brother had no idea what his sister-in-law was doing. Just like he and Sisi, eating and living together, he would notice if she went to the bathroom at night. "Thank you, brother and sister-in-law." Yang Sisi thanked him on his behalf. "You're welcome." Chin Jin smiled. Lu Yuechun had another problem in her heart. The reason why she encouraged her mother-in-law to marry Sisi was because she was beautiful and was born in a rural area, and she was sure that she didn't have the brains to handle her. Who knew it was so difficult? Looking at the shrewd Li Yue, she looks ridiculously stupid. I heard that I got engaged to a gangster. It would have been better if I had ordered Li Yue at that time. In that case, Chin Yancy probably wouldn't have turned around so quickly. One wrong step, every wrong step. Losing everything. Because Chin Yancy was admitted to Yenching University, the whole family was excited. Chin's mother even prepared a large table of food, which was too much for one person to finish. Yang Sisi took the initiative to take over some of it, and Chin Yancy went into the house to help. Chin Yanjun dragged him out. "If a big man does this for outsiders to see, wouldn't it be a joke? Let's go. Let's talk." Qin Yanxi waved Qin Yanjun's hand away. Now I just want to help Sisi reduce some housework. I have nothing to say to you. Mother of Qin was extremely irritable, and she had been doing housework for decades. How come no one said anything about helping her reduce the amount? Qin Yanjun knew that he could not understand the ideological work of Qin Yanxi, so he asked Yang Sisi to persuade him. Sisi, please let him go out with me. Yang Sisi smiled, I can't control him. Although these tasks are not tiring, they take up a lot of time. Those who don't do anything always think it's easy. Men should do this so that they can appreciate women's hard work. Moreover, the couple can talk when they are busy together, which helps to connect with each other. How can the relationship be good if one sits and watches the other busy? Qin Yanjun had no choice but to go out. Qin's mother said, it would be great if your father could be half as good as you. Qin Yanxi, you are used to it, you can't blame others. Mother of Qin, what can we do if we don't stab her in the heart? After a meal, Yang Sisi returned to her parents' home, but this time she did not bring Qin Yan's speech. As soon as he entered the house, he told Li Junlu directly that Qin Yanxi had been admitted to Yenching University. Song Hanmei also came to join in the fun. She said in disbelief, where did you take the exam? Yenching University? You're just kidding. Who would joke about something like this? It took Li Junlu a long time to recover from the shock. Isn't it true that I haven't taken the college entrance examination yet? In the mathematics competition we participated in, 5 people were admitted in advance across the country, and ACI was one of them. Yang Sisi told Yorong. Then will you still take the college entrance examination in the future? Please vote.